What is up, you guys? Welcome to the very first episode of the Rating Pending New Challenger segment. And here with me, the one and only Daniel Pesina.
Hello, everyone. How's everybody doing out there?
I hope everybody's very good. And let's get started, shall we?
Yeah, let's go for it.
So let's start with the most mainstream stuff. All right, let's get to know you better. Who is Daniel Pesina?
Good question. Yeah, I basically just a normal guy. Started out when in 1971 doing martial arts as a hobby,
Right.
and just kept up with it through through my life, and just loved it, and it became right now. It's what I do full time. So yeah, teach and practice martial arts all the time.
So you're an instructor, a teacher on the. I heard that you were a teacher on the Wushu Academy you have in Chicago, right?
Yeah, we have two schools out here. One's in Chicago proper, meaning it's in the city, and the other one is in the suburbs. We just started in the suburb of Palatine, which is about an hour away from my other location. So yeah, it's expanding.
It's expanding completely. That's awesome. Hey, who wouldn't love to train with Johnny Cage, right?
Exactly.
So, you know, the questions are basically the mainstream questions that we all, like everybody does, and I'm gonna ask it for sure, is how did it all this started? How do you act? You started your acting career, and then you worked your way up, and you have this big boom on the Mortal Kombat game completely.
Actually, didn't act. I used to compete in martial arts, and my friend John Tobias called me, who I've known John for a long time, and he was like, "Hey, I want to do a fighting game, and can you come out to the studio? I'm going to film you, and then I'm going to try to pitch this idea I have to my boss," and his boss being Ed Boon. So I came out to meet John, and we videotaped some stuff to kind of give an idea of what kind of what kind of game he wanted
Right.
to create. At the time, there was already a fighting game. I forget the name, but it wasn't very good. The meaning the actors who did the fighting were not martial artists. So sometimes when when a non-martial artist is doing the action, the movement could look clumsy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and John and I and my brother Carlos and Rich DeVizio used to watch kung fu movies all the time. We used to play like Dungeons and Dragons together.
Of course. Oh, that's awesome.
So yeah, so we were geeky, and actually myself, Rich, and Carlos went out and recorded some stuff for John, and then he approached Ed with his ideas, and Ed liked what he saw, and he took it up to the higher ups at the time, Midway.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, let's do this video game.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, sounds like I've seen that on bios, and maybe I did my research on the internet. Were you actually a foot soldier on the TMNT 2 movie? Was that actually true?
Yeah, I did some.
How was
work.
that experience?
It was fun. It's good. It's like stunt work. It's good, but that's life of an actor, and I try to kind of stay away from that. It requires a lot of sacrifice.
Right.
And I'll do it as a hobby, but I don't want to devote my life to it. I really love the martial arts. I'd like to really just practice
yeah,
it.
exactly. That's basically your life right there, the martial arts.
That's the thing. And I don't want to bite off more than I can chew. So yeah, it's.
If they would present you right now, let's just put it this way: if they would present you right now a script for a Mortal Kombat movie, will you gladly do Johnny Cage or any character they put you? Would you do it?
I have stipulations.
You got stipulations?
Yeah, I gotta kind of not bad stipulations, but my thing is, as a martial art master,
Right.
is I'd like to make the martial art movements not as mainstream, so more in the style what you see coming out of mainland China, Hong Kong.
All right.
So the action for that type of genre is a little different than the American type of action. The Americans like big movement. In Asia, it's a little bit more. The guys are a little bit more technical, like
Right.
relying on their technique.
kind
as
of
well as
it's pretty serious. Like it's
yeah,
something that it's has to be respected completely.
yeah. So if we could work past that, sure, I'd give it a go.
You give it a go, of course.
Yeah, yeah,
Would if they would anyways, because I've seen that Ed Boon like doesn't want to go back, to original roots. Now that you remember the problem, obviously, of the controversy with Midway. Can you actually tell us what exactly happened on the, that you filed a lawsuit against
yeah,
Midway?
yeah. And as I recall it,
Yeah.
did the game. We were starting to do the game. It was very low budget.
All right.
When I showed up to actually start filming things, we actually filmed it in a room that people use as a closet. So we basically cleaned it all out. We've got some lights from not only above, but we got any light that wasn't nailed down. So we got desk lights and stuff like that just to make the lighting for
Of course.
for the video game. Yeah, and we did it all. It's actually videotaped.
Yeah.
So at the time when it was going on, I asked them some questions. They were like, "Hey, we're only going to make 200 arcade games. This is going to be a filler game. We're going to get it out." And
It was just a project completely. It was
yeah,
just like a project.
it's a small project. So everything was low budget. Actually, the original tapings of Johnny Cage,
Yeah.
which was, he was the first character, and kind of like we tested everything out on him. The original videos are all gone. We taped over them to save money.
Wow.
Yeah, so there's probably about 12, 14 hours of actual
Footage.
that is gone forever. While John and I were experimenting with moves for the martial arts. So anyway, so later on when it became big, I thought, I asked John, I was like, what, we really didn't go over this, and he was like, don't worry, these guys are good guys, they'll take care of you.
Oh.
But in the end, they took care of me like the mafia,
Of course. Yeah, and
yeah,
that's actually saddening, though.
Yeah, and I could kind of see their point of view. They were not in the room with John and I when we were making stuff up.
All right.
Actually, I met Ed briefly, but during the filming, it was just John and I for most of
the parts.
Johnny Cage and most of the characters. It was
All right.
myself, John, and the characters for most of the video shooting. So we would make all the changes right on hand.
Oh,
so,
okay.
yeah, so it is what it is. In hindsight, I would tell any of my friends out there, the fans, if you're going to do any projects, make sure you have a lawyer take a look at it and do it all in writing, because though,
if you may, they'll basically screw you over. It could be.
it wasn't John's fault, but the higher ups don't know what's going on. They
okay.
just say like, "Oh, we own everything." You know what I mean? No, they don't really. That's not how it was pitched to me.
Oh, of course.
And they have a lot of money; they could bury you.
Yeah, that's the sad news about that. That's actually true. And
Yeah.
Now that I'm getting into the business, into the video game industry stuff, and that's actually something that I would actually love to hear. That now that I know that, now that you told me that, now I get more knowledge about that, and it helps me a lot completely, and it helps everybody who actually is studying video game design or who actually is making video games.
Right.
So, how is exactly all right? When you got the part of Johnny Cage, it was a test. Completely was a test. It was the first character to do. How do you approach to get Scorpion, Sub-Zero, and Reptile?
So what happened was when we were actually my original character wasn't Johnny Cage. It was Stryker. I was going to be Stryker.
Oh, okay.
And then when we were getting ideas from the game, the people who own Midway were like, "Hey, let's get Jean-Claude Van Damme to do the game instead of these guys. These guys could take like a backseat, and we can sell more video games." So they approached Jean-Claude Van Damme, and he wanted a lot of money.
Yeah.
And
for a pretty small project, they could. I assume they couldn't afford it.
Yeah. So then they canceled the game. But John really wanted to do the game, and so he begged Ed. He was like, "Man, let me do my project. This is going to be really fun. It'll be really good. Don't spend hardly any money. Let's do it." And so Ed was like, "Okay, let's see what you could come up with." And so, kind of to spite Jean-Claude Van Damme, John was like, John seen me work out, knew I could do stuff, so he was just like, "Man, he goes, let's make your character now like a spin-off of Jean-Claude Van Damme because that guy, he might
Yeah.
just so full of himself. Let's just do that. And jokingly, and we were like, okay, let's change our character into that.
Yeah, and I seen a video like basically Johnny Cage is basically a comic relief
Yeah,
completely, like
yeah.
completely a comic relief, and that's awesome. And you were as soon as the John Van Damme said no, were you up to do the Scorpion and stuff, or did you just approach it completely and say, hey, would you like to do Scorpion, Sub-Zero, and Reptile?
So after we shot Johnny Cage for a while, then my friend Richard DeVizio shot Kano,
Right.
and then we did. Then after that, we did Raiden, Carlos, my brother Carlos.
Yeah.
Then we did Liz. Then we did who's Sonya, Liz
Yeah.
Malek, and Sonya. Then we did Hosung
Which
Pak
is
for
Liu Kang.
Liu Kang. Yeah. And at that time we were all friends except for Liz. Liz worked at a health club that I worked at.
Oh, okay.
So they were looking for a female who looked like, who was really fit and looked like a badass. And Liz looks like a badass. She's in very good shape. She was in very good shape. So we got her. And then actually, Tony Marquez, the guy who does Kung
Kung
Lao,
Lao.
was going to be in Ninjas.
Oh, okay.
So what happened was he was lifting weights and he dropped a 25-pound weight on his toe and broke it.
Oh.
So he couldn't do the ninjas. So we were like, I was there for most of the filming of all the other characters. So they were like, hey, can you just jump in? We need to really do this really quick. We're running out of time. Because the whole game was more of an experiment. So, I threw on the Scorpion costume and we did some other things. And then John and Ed were like, we don't really have enough time to shoot the other characters we wanted. Can you just do some extra moves and we'll make this character,
Right.
two characters? So I was like, okay. So we shot some more moves and basically converted one character into two characters.
And you completely innovated. Now that Scorpion is basically the most known character in Mortal Kombat. It basically, is the face of Mortal Kombat, if you may.
Yeah.
Actually, is that
Yeah.
it? How was the experience? Of course, I know you told this, but how was the experience when you were recording? How was that? When you started Mortal Kombat 2. Now that we passed one, now we go Mortal Kombat 2.
Well, Mortal Kombat 2, the camera,
Right.
the room that we shot in all got better light, better camera. Number one, at the beginning when we did all the falls, I would do all the falls on concrete. We didn't have anything to fall on. So
Wow.
the first one, at least for the experimental part, like Johnny Cage,
Right.
all the falling and all of that is actually me flipping and falling.
Oh,
So
so it's like a 50-50 chance that you might hurt yourself, and
I was pretty trained. It was just hard on your body.
yeah,
And because of the video camera is two-dimensional, if you move a little bit, all of a sudden your image is bigger than it was before, and then you'd have to reshoot. So we had a lot of experimentation, like shooting different things for that. And I came up with a system to help conquer that, for the video game.
and now
So
that the roster completely, it got upgraded. So it was 8 characters on Mortal Kombat 1, if I'm not mistaken. It was Raiden, Johnny Cage, Liu Kang, Scorpion, Sub-Zero, and Sonya, including the bonus character Reptile. Not that it got expanded. Were you actually the stunt coordinator on Mortal Kombat 2?
actually, more choreographer, I guess, is more of it. Yeah, it was more like even one I got to kind of like put my 2 cents in, so to speak,
Yeah.
into creating all the characters. So even in 2, I would like change stuff up. I had an input on most of the fatalities, so it was cool.
Oh,
and
wow. You
yeah,
actually put into the fatalities. That's awesome. That's awesome to
yeah,
hear.
and also times were there. A lot of the characters that worked on the game, like for instance, "Get Over Here," the famous saying, "Get over here." Rich DeVizio came up with that.
Wow.
Yeah, Ed came up with the idea of having a lasso like Wonder Woman.
All right.
you throw it around the person and you bring them over. And then I was like, oh, guys, there's a Chinese weapon called the rope dart.
Okay.
And it's a long cord of rope, and at the end is tied like a knife. And it wraps around your body, and and they can carry it. You don't even see it, and it shoots out. And it was used to drag their horses.
All right.
So this rope dart thing, and then so we decided to use a rope dart. And then when I was doing the moves, doing moves like the rope dart,
Rich Divisio.
yeah, and I started pulling the guy over there, and Rich yelled, "Get over here!" And then it stuck, and it made its way into the game.
Wow.
So the whole creative atmosphere, I think, was because they just let us do our stuff. It was a bunch of friends goofing around, having fun.
All right. Yeah, it was not something. Obviously, it has to be taken seriously, but it was something that you can all relax, chill out, and do your work completely. Like when.
Right. Yeah. We had say so over everything. I had say so over, whatever kick and punch was going to happen. They would look to me and say, "We're not the, John and Ed are not the martial artists. You're the martial artist. What do you think?" So it was
It was a fun experience.
Yeah, it was awesome.
All right. And how did it all come like to this with the Galloping Ghost arcade? Like it reunited all the MK cast. How did that happen?
Doc Mack, who owns the owns Galloping Ghost, great guy.
Yeah.
Get a chance to come and see it. It's huge. So when he was little, for our first, when Mortal Kombat was going to come out into the video game system for television, for Nintendo and for
Sega.
Yeah. Acclaim hired us to come out and sign some autographs. They contacted me and said, "Hey, will you guys come out and sign the autographs?" So I negotiated, a couple hours to get out there, and I was like, "You sure you only want us for 2 hours?" And he was like, "Yeah, we only need you for 2 hours." I was like,
It doesn't look like it's gonna be 2 hours.
I was like, "You guys don't have any idea what you're, because the characters, all the characters have our personality. It's not like, oh, this is the personality of Scorpion. No, Scorpion's personality is part of my personality. Liu Kang's personality is part of Hosung's personality. Kano's personality is part of Rich Divisio's personality. That wasn't developed when we were filming. That was all taken while we were actually doing the project. So, even Raiden's personality is my brother's. Yeah, parts of it, kind of like an ego part of it.
An alter ego.
Yeah, so we got to their show. They had a big show, and we wound up staying there for like 7 hours signing autographs.
Wow.
Yeah, so one of the people standing in line was Doc Mack, and I think he was like 9 years old or something like that.
Wow.
So there's a picture of us with him when he was like really little. It's amazing. So and then later on, it reflected through his life, and here we are over 20 years later, and he has a video arcade. So that connection kept us all together.
Yeah.
And it's local, and we use it mostly to get together with, for me to see my brother or Rich or Tony. Life gets busy, so we always show up at the arcade whenever we can to kind of reunite.
Of course.
Yeah. So
and is it became like this? I'm not aware of it, but did it started this year completely, or have you actually known the guy from a long time?
Yeah, we used to show up casually, or if he's like, "Hey, I'm having an event, can you guys stop by?" Then we all kind of just stop by. But this is the first year where it started to, organize. It started like
to pick up.
Well, the thing is, like, we usually show up. It'd be like, okay, Philip and John Parrish,
right.
Or it could be me and Rich there. But then we were like, Tony Marquez was never there, and I was like, oh, I got to get Tony Marquez out there to see. He hasn't seen Rich or Philip or John Parrish in a really long time. It would be good if he showed up. So then I told my brother, and my brother's like, "Oh man, I'm going to show up too." And then Rich was like, "Oh, I invited Carrie and some Brian and some other characters to show up." And then all of a sudden, it was just like everybody was showing up. So it was kind of at the last few weeks, it was a big event.
And it got big. Like it got basically all over media. Like it got on Kotaku, it got on Polygon, it got on in a much like it got big. Like I remember, like I have you on Facebook, and when as soon as I saw people tagging pictures, and I have a friend from Texas. I don't know him personally, but I've subscribed to his channel since I love Mortal Kombat. He actually does Mortal Kombat arcade cabinets. He actually he makes like a dedicated arcade cabinet. Maybe you know him. It's his channel is Your MK Arcade Source.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, I've know the guy from 2009 when I subscribed to his channel, and as soon as I started watching pictures about that, it's like, wait, is those are actually all the Mortal Kombat characters? I can't believe this.
yeah.
And as soon as I saw that, it got everything. It got on Kotaku, and it was everything. It was in everywhere, and it was like, wow, like since 1992 to now, it's amazing how to see all the characters reunite. There were some missing, but it's completely awesome to see some of the
Yeah.
characters come back.
Yeah, people move on, or it's hard to like. Liz likes to stay private. She's friends with me on Facebook, but she really shies away from the Mortal Kombat scene.
Yeah,
For her own personal reasons. For whatever it is. But yeah. So it was really cool. Everybody got together, and we were all there hanging out, and it was awesome.
hey, who knows if Puerto Rico Comic Con actually likes to inviting guests? Will you actually love to come to Puerto Rico?
Oh heck yeah!
Oh hell yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it's paradise, man.
It's paradise. Yeah, it's paradise. When you see the beaches in Puerto Rico, you're gonna love it. Let's start with the fan questions. I have
Okay.
like five questions here.
Okay.
This is from Derek Dill. Daniel Piscina, what does it feel like to be in the Mortal Kombat franchise as everyone's favorite movie star fighter, Johnny Cage? And do you stay in touch with Ed Boon or anyone you work with who also play characters like Awesome Pack?
Uh, it, when I see Johnny Cage, because it was like my alter ego, I never view it as like a foreign person.
Right.
Same thing with Scorpion and Sub Zero and Reptile, Smoke, Nucleobot. I don't view them as like as a character. I always, whenever I see it, I was like, oh, I remember that day. I was goofing off and we were doing this. So it was
Oh,
very
okay.
hard. Yeah. So all those guys, though they had their characters outside for fans. For me, it's just me. So it's not like it's not egotistical because I always remember it goofing around,
Right.
acting silly. I'm with my friends. I have some, maybe I can figure out a way to put on some out clips of the surviving footage of the first game or in the second. No, I don't have any in the second game, but the first game. I have some awesome footage of just goofy stuff that was happening.
It was the good times. Completely, it
Yeah,
was the good times.
yeah, they were like I said, they'd let us do anything we wanted. They were like, okay, we got to do something for the game. Okay, what can you guys do? Okay, how about we do this? And that's, so as far as that, hopefully I answered his question on that. And as far as, seeing the characters, we try to get together whenever, at least the core characters, like
Right.
myself, my brother, try to see him as often as I can because he's my brother.
Of course.
Rich too. Rich and Tony are like my brothers, so try to see them. Hosung Pak moved to California, so I haven't seen him in a very long time. Philip An, also when I see him at Galloping Ghost, I try to, reconnect with those guys. And when we see each other, it's like we're young again. We start goofing around and we start teasing each other, so it's a fun time.
It's been a fun time, of course.
Yeah, last time I seen John Tobias maybe 2 years ago.
All right.
Yeah, about 2 years ago. Otherwise, he's running in and out from California. So, yeah, people move on. Life grows, and
Yeah, of
people
course.
come.
We gotta move on, and we can't stay in one thing. Of course.
Right, that's growth. Yeah,
It's actually awesome.
yeah.
And one thing about his question: have you ever stayed in touch with Ed Boon?
No, no, not, I don't. Even though Ed and I don't get along, it's kind of,
Oh,
you
okay.
know, yeah, it's, I don't wish him ill, and I wish him much success with, Mortal Kombat 10 and any other Mortal Kombat coming up. I hope they all, you know, I hope he gets something out of it, creatively.
Of course.
Yeah, yeah, but he's probably the only one that I really don't talk to.
Oh,
Yeah,
here.
everybody else, yes.
All right. And here comes the second question from Tony Pena. Have you played with your own character yet? And what are rare MK items do you have?
Actually, when I play NK, I like to play with Raiden.
Do you like to play as your brother?
Yeah, yeah, he's my brother. Plus, Raiden is uh, what is the awesome character. It brings back the most memories of when we were before we started filming, and we were thinking of ways to, make the game unique. We were talking about of movies and things like that.
Right.
It the main movie, Enter the Dragon. That's why Mortal Kombat looks like Enter the Dragon.
Oh, wow. Yeah,
Yeah,
I can see the similarity.
yeah. Raiden is from Big Trouble in Little China. It was one of my brother John Tobias and Rich's favorite movie. We loved that movie. So Raiden's, we got him out of there. So each one got kind of something from our childhood or our memories.
Of course.
The ninjas came out of a movie called Heroes of the East. I think it has another name with Gordon Liu,
Okay.
where he was like he married a Japanese wife, and they got into a fight, and he wanted to get her back, so he challenged her to a fight. But then her master got the note and was like, "Okay, I'm going to fight him." And so he brought some fighters over to China to fight him, and so it was like a style versus the Japanese style versus the Chinese style. So the
Okay.
Japanese guy was like a ninja, but the Chinese guy was the Lin Ku, because in China they were like a similar thing as
Okay. Okay.
ninjas. So from that movie, that's where we got the idea of the Lin Ku, the
Okay.
ninjas. That's why they're kind of from a different sect.
All right. And here comes the third question from Ryan Yup. Why in MK Cage can groin punch another Cage? And in two players, let's just start with that first question. Why in MK1 Cage can just groin punch another Johnny Cage?
Because I won't punch myself in the nuts. And that's, yeah.
Yeah, of course, you're not gonna punch yourself.
Yeah, yeah. When we were goofing around doing it, it was that's one of the things. And then the thing is where we can't, you can't punch a girl either, because she's a girl. She won't get
Of
punched.
course.
Yeah.
And this is the other question that he has. He had like multiple questions, but I want to give him like the chance to actually ask the many questions they want. Why or in the two-player mode, when players select the same character, they are just a darker variation of the character, but Sonya outfit turns from green to red. What was the color the screen used to capture in video? Blue, green, or neither?
The first video game we shot against a gray wall.
It was a gray wall.
Yeah, it was a gray wall. So and that was just because that was the color of the wall behind it. They shot for the video game Terminator.
Okay.
So we shot it after they were done working on that game. So the wall behind us just happened to be gray.
Completely gray. Yeah, and they had to crop. If I'm not mistaken, it was on video and then it was recorded, or it was like
Yeah.
all in pictures completely, and they made it sprites, of course.
Uh,
Um,
yeah, they kind of like we shot the videotape, and then we like a sidekick takes 12 frames.
all right.
But that's too many frames to it makes the play very slow.
All
So
right.
John cut out frames. So so when he cut out frames, it's just pictures or sprites they call them.
Yeah.
So yeah, so instead of like it being 12, it can be 3 or 4.
Oh, okay.
And then he would take the video after the printing and kind of like rotoscoping. Are you familiar
Yeah,
with?
rotoscopes. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So he would do a little bit of that.
Oh, okay.
But yeah.
And this is another question that he had is the um, why was the character variation? Like, why the, if I pick you in player one and the player two would be darker? It was because it was just to, categorize this is player two or player one, or
Yes.
there was something more into that.
No, no, that was just to that way people would know. Otherwise, you don't really know who you are,
Of
if you get
course.
all mixed up. So yeah.
All right. And here comes Jimmy Ortiz. This is a question that I already answered, but again, this is for Jimmy Ortiz. My question is, how do you got the part on joining Mortal Kombat?
Yeah, as I said, yeah, my friend John wanted to make a fighting game, so to do some videoing so he can pitch the game to Ed, and Ed would take it up to the higher ups. So we got some stuff going, and then yeah, then we went from there.
All right. And this is from a partner in me in the Reigning Pending podcast, and he couldn't join us. Here is from Jose Miguel Vasquez. My question goes as follows. In a time where video games became this social commotion due to the contents within them, was there ever a time where you thought that you were going to do the right thing? By this, I refer to the whole violence in video games topic.
Well, it wasn't because we never thought that it was going to go to the home. Nobody ever believed that it would go this far. So the intention was never to have it in home. We pitched it towards some kid who would go to the arcade. And usually, a kid who goes to the arcade, 14, 15 years old, if they're younger, they go with their parents. So it
Of
was
course.
more like the design was for a more mature, young adult.
Right.
So when it went to home, we didn't design it for that. And two, in my upbringing, my dad took us to a lot of martial art movies and war movies.
War.
For my upbringing, I don't ever think they're real or it's all right to be violent with someone else.
Of course.
Out of for no reason.
Okay. It
So
was never pitched like that.
yeah, we never intended it to go to the home, and then it went big, and they were like, okay, we're gonna take it to home, and it is what it is.
All right. Let's start with this little game. Yeah, you're gonna join in a little game, Daniel, and it's called the Stack Up Challenge. I'm gonna give you two options. And you gotta pick one, and you gotta answer it as fast as you can.
Okay,
You ready?
sure.
PlayStation or Xbox?
Xbox,
Pizza or burgers?
pizza,
Sega or Nintendo?
Nintendo.
Oh, you really? Nintendo?
Yeah,
All right.
I'm old school.
Mortal Kombat 1 or 2?
One.
1. All right. Here comes the random question. Like, it's going to be completely random. It's not going to make any sense. You're going to answer it with making no sense at all.
Okay.
Ready?
Uh-huh.
If you like pizza, but then cabbage is alone, why is the train leaving at 3 a.m.?
Size 10 bowling shoe.
Size 10 bowling shoe. That's all right, all right.
Okay. Here's I kind of cheated.
You kind of cheated?
Yeah, because when we were making MK1,
All right.
whenever we would get we wouldn't know what direction
Okay.
to go, John would be like, "Man, what are we gonna do?" And Rich, or even John, we would just look at each other and say, "Size 10 bowling shoe."
Size 10 bowling shoe?
If they're like, "Wow, what?" For instance, if Ho Sung's going to be doing something, and he's like, "What should we do next?" And I would look at Rich and I'd say, "Size 10 bowling shoe."
All right. It's your inner joke. It's your inner joke.
Yeah, it's an inside joke. So, for the old cast and crew and for Tobias, when he hears that, he's going to start cracking up. He'll be like, "Oh, I remember that."
Size 10 bowling shoe?
Size 10 bowling shoe. What are we going to have for dinner? Size 10 bowling shoe. Hey, can you come out? Size 10 bowling shoe. That kind of like, yeah.
It's like, oh, size 10 bowling shoe. Well, size 10 bowling shoe it is then.
Yes.
And all right, as soon as you finished with the Mortal Kombat and when the lawsuit came by, what was the problem with the Bloodstorm arcade games? Or was that any opportunity that you have like something a part of it for Mortal Kombat and it got Midway's attention? What was it? What was that all about?
Um, the John Tobias approached me and said, "Hey, one of the guys who worked on Mortal Kombat 2 is leaving for a different video game company, and he's got a project and he wants you to do some work for it because he really loved Mortal Kombat. He loved working with you, you know."
Of
And
course.
so he goes, and he was just like, "Man, you should help him out." And I was like, "Yeah, naturally, you know, it's like a brotherhood."
It's like a brotherhood. It's a
Yeah, so
creed.
he was like, yeah, so his game was Bloodstorm, and he hired me to do some pictures, and I was like, yeah, I'll do them for you, you know? Yeah, it's part of the family, the MK family, even though a lot of people are like, oh, I know a lot of people got mad at that.
Yeah.
You don't know. You don't know that the creator of that game worked on Mortal Kombat, you know? And we, you know, no matter what, we try to stick together and try to do things for each other.
Okay. Here comes the other stack up challenge, but it's something really easy. It's easier. All right, I'm gonna give you the three characters that you or four characters that you have: Johnny Cage, Sub Zero, Scorpion, and Reptile. You gotta pick one of those. Which one would it be?
Sub-Zero.
Sub Zero. All right. And the other one is who will you face with Sub Zero? Anyone. It doesn't matter. It can be out of game, real life. Who will you pick that person?
Chuck Norris.
Chuck. Oh, Chuck Norris. Now that's some real competition right there. But you know, Sub Zero just can't freeze him, and it's all over.
Yeah.
Any other fun moments you had beside that? And you know, when you got off in the Mortal Kombat, how do you this all ended? You just started training more martial arts, and then you opened your academy. It was on 2004, right?
Opened the my first academy actually in 2000.
Oh,
We
in
didn't,
2000.
yeah, we didn't go public until 2002. But you know, in the year 2000, about 30 of my students got together, and we're like, hey, let's, you know, we should open a martial arts school and have our own school. And that's what, you know, I was like, yeah, it's about time we don't, you know, at that time we were working out in random places wherever we can get space, or we would do it outside or anywhere.
All right.
Yeah, in 2000 we got together and started martial arts uh, the majority of time.
And have you ever done any cons, like any comic book conventions, any you know, some conventions are for video games and stuff?
Yeah, I've done quite a few. When I get the chance, if it works out well, yeah, I kind of you know, I get to go. I went last year. Went to Chile. You know,
Okay.
this year I might have some things lined up. So yeah, it's always good to see the fans. See
And
my
I love how you actually interact with the fans. Like not many people actually does that. And you all talk to them, and you have a fan page from Christina NFS. I've seen it. I
yeah,
joined, and she's actually from what I've seen, she's actually awesome. And
yeah.
shout outs to her, of course. Shout out to her for allowing me to be on the group. And yeah, I like how you're actually open with the fans and you like to interact with them. It was this like actually from you, or it was like I would like to see, I would like to do this, or it's actually always been you.
You mean
Like,
like with the fan page or anything like that? It wasn't me.
exactly, exactly.
And, and two, I don't like on Facebook. I may go public soon, but really, it's my uh, it's like my personal page.
Oh, okay.
So you know, when you're a friend with me on Facebook, yeah, I don't think you're a fan. I think you're a friend.
Oh, there we go. There's some
So
people.
yeah, so you know, right now I think I got 4,500 or something like that. Those are all
Wow.
friends. Those are not.
Not fans. They're all friends.
If
We're
I
all
see
friends
them
here.
walking down the street, you know, I'm Hispanic, so I would give them a hug. You
Wow.
know, I'd be like, "Hey, it's good to finally meet you in person," or whatever it is. Or you know, if a friend, you know, I try to answer all my mail on there personally. You know,
Okay.
try to wish them a happy birthday and stuff like that. Because I don't view them as just anybody. I view them, you know, they're my friends. Yeah,
That's
it's good. It's awesome.
that's actually a pretty awesome thing though. Like that's it's a pretty cool thing that you just don't see them as fans. You are already like basically your family. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
My MK family is correct.
that's
Yeah,
awesome. That's
it
actually
is. Yeah.
Any funny story you had? Any embarrassing moments when you were doing something that you would like to share? Don't worry if you don't have to answer that. But anything, any funny story you had?
A
Some
couple.
fan came up to you or some friend. Let's put it this way: some friend.
Actually, I shared it one time, but it seems like it's everyone's favorite story. Is when Acclaim invited us to do some tour through England,
All right.
and so here we are. It's England, and England's not that warm.
Really?
Well, it's all right. The I think it's mild. The temperature's mild in certain parts.
Okay.
Anyway, so they had us in full costume. So I'm in the Johnny Cage costume in London.
Oh.
We're going into a record store to sign some autographs, and some random guy walking by grabs me by my nuts.
What?
Yeah, just out of nowhere. And I kind of looked at him, and he just didn't look back, but he just waved over his shoulder.
What?
And I was just like, okay, well, that's done. Might go in and just, yeah. So that was, I
That
don't think
was.
I caught it, but that was like, for me, it was like, holy shit.
What the hell?
Yeah, just randomly, just walking by because I was in the Cage costume. He had the biker shorts. I used to own the biker shorts. The biker shorts are gone. And the only thing I have left, I think, from shooting MK from the original stuff, one of the few things
Right.
I have is the shoes. I still have the shoes,
You
Johnny
still
Cage
have the.
shoes.
Oh, there
Yeah.
goes the first question. Like,
Yeah.
Jay was actually asking that if you had any rare MK items with you.
Yeah, I have the shoes. I don't know if I have anything else.
You don't have it.
Besides, like, yeah, I have about 8 hours of video
Yeah.
from
Okay.
MK. Yeah, so hopefully one day I can make those public. Internet and Warner Brothers didn't like it.
Oh. Oh, really? Well.
Yeah, but they were on long enough for people to see it. I think you see them posted a lot. I posted the behind the scenes,
Okay.
like with me and Rich goofing around on the staircase when he's trying to kick, me sliding into the splits. I posted all that stuff. And then
I'm still thinking about that. The guy grabbing your nuts. I'm still thinking. I was like, what is this?
and it was really crowded. And it's not like I can like really.
I,
It was like instantly, and I was just looked at him. I was like,
where is he?
No, I knew exactly what he was, where he was, and stuff like that.
All
But
right.
it was just like, well, okay,
That
well,
just happened.
got to go to work. It's not that big of a deal. It wasn't like he stabbed me or anything like that. So yeah, that's quite embarrassing. Yeah,
It's what he wanted to prove that Johnny Cage can actually have, nuts. Who knows?
yeah,
Who knows?
yeah.
Ready. So I've seen articles. Maybe you can be the mythbuster here and like deny those. Is it true that you were actually thinking on doing a video game?
Um, I've been approached for a couple of projects, but nothing has manifested. Some people ask for help or if I would do a project, and I'm sure I'm like always like sure if I can help or if it's not if it's not crazy, sure I can try to help them do stuff. But it's a lot of work.
Of course.
Yeah, and so far nothing has manifested. So you know, it, I would. That's kind of true, but not true. So.
But were you thinking on doing a video game? Like, have you had in mind one day as like I like this, I would like to make a video game from like myself and a team completely.
Um,
Have
you
you
know,
had that on mind or?
I've been asked about that. I've been actually a couple people have asked how I would, how you know, more of like fans who have some education on making a video game of how to like improve what they have right now.
Okay, okay.
So yeah, so they're like, oh, if we were making a fighting game, what would you do different? I was like, well, you got your basic MK fighting game, and the other fighting games are kind of the same. And I told them my ideas of some of my ideas of how I would make it more updated.
All right.
I know MK has its fans and it likes its fighting in a particular style, but I think that an offshoot of it with a more, for lack of word, more educated.
Okay.
People are watching martial art movies more. So
All right.
two. So when now it's becoming when people other people fight and do action, people know like, oh, that person's a badass. Oh, that wasn't real. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
They know people who actually can do stuff and who cannot. So
Okay.
so it would be more of for a newer generation who has an eye for body work and movement, like making a fighting game for that. But yeah, I've spoken to a couple people about that.
Will you actually do a tournament and stuff, or you have anything on mind, or what are your basically your dreams? Just keeping on living and doing your stuff that you love.
Yeah, I basically I just love to practice martial arts. Teaching provides an income, so I'd like to do that. Recently online, I had a friend Tyler. He just this week I started posting some basic. I'm trying to keep them short, basic videos for him to actually learn
Tai
uh,
Chi.
Tai Chi through through Facebook, and it's open to my friends. When you see it, you can try to do it. Right now there's only two, but eventually it'll be a whole learning system. So, you know, and Tai Chi Tai Chi Chuan is known as Grand Ultimate Fist. It
Okay.
yeah for it's one of the internal kind of mystical arts. So yeah,
Oh,
so
okay. Okay.
a lot of people are fascinated with it. So
So it's
so
getting like a trend, maybe? Like it's getting
yeah.
like known completely?
Yeah, so we'll see where this project goes because again, it was like it'll be on Facebook, and people can learn, and it'll be fun to do.
Okay. Oh, sounds good then. That's actually I've always, I tried learning jujitsu back then. It was like 4 years ago. I got to yellow belt, which is basically the one that it's after, of course, white. And it's not that I couldn't. It's just I didn't have the time. But if there was a martial arts that you actually recommend for people, that obviously it's not that it's hard. It's because it's basically everything is exercise and discipline, of course. But which one would you recommend on the ones that you're actually training and showing people, or which one do you actually think that it's the best?
At my level, all martial arts are the same.
Okay.
So when I see what people are viewing right now are sport martial arts, like what you see with Gracie Jiu Jitsu is sport martial art because there's certain rules. And two, it's just like kickboxing. It's awesome, but there's certain rules.
Okay.
Thai fighting, Muay Thai, the new stuff. There's certain rules. And when you have rules, that changes that can change a martial art. That's why some are better suited for things, different sports. You know
All
what I
right.
mean?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. But in reality, all martial arts are all the traditional martial arts are the same. There's only a certain way to punch without breaking your hand. There's only a certain way to kick without breaking your foot. Old martial arts are for I don't want to sound brutal, but old martial arts are for killing.
Okay.
So it's kind of and
Basically when you reach black belt, you're basically a living lethal weapon. If that's what I've heard. I don't know if it's true.
actually the belt system was invented by the Danish
Okay.
about 70 years ago. So when you see somebody wearing a belt, that's not really traditional.
Oh.
That's yeah. That those are all from the Danish made up the belt system, and so the American people who were practicing Japanese art and the Korean Taekwondo people took that and found a good way to make business. But otherwise, like in my studio in the city, nobody wears belts.
Nobody wears belts.
No, when you come in, you're like, that guy good. Oh, that woman's good. That guy's good. That guy is not so good. Well, that's what your belt is. When your belt is your action.
Oh,
You know,
well,
it,
that sounds more interesting though. Like
yeah,
rather than seeing black belts. That's
yeah. If the guy looks really awesome and has a really nice disposition, or the woman is awesome and kind, then they are a black belt.
oh, okay, okay. Oh well, that's pretty awesome though.
Actually, yeah. So, in the main school, it's it's very traditional where, yeah, no belts. It's what you do. There's no tests either. A test for my school is when you come in to work out after a busy day of work, you pass the test. You know,
Oh, okay.
yeah, because you know how it is when you're tired, you want to just go home and rest, but you're actually coming in to work out and to learn this art and to kind of see your kung fu brothers and sisters. That's a test. Just getting there is the whole thing.
Just getting there. All right. That's actually awesome. That's actually really cool. How is this movie that you actually did? That you were an actor. It was you were the hitman on Book of Swords
Yeah, a Sung's movie. Yeah.
and what are the cast in there? Like, were there actually Mortal Kombat from the original cast on there? Was it Awesome Pack, Rich Division, right?
Yeah, my brother was in there. Yeah.
And
So,
how did all that started? Basically, somebody was a fan of Mortal Kombat, or is just
uh,
something that Awesome Pack pitched to
Hosang.
you?
Yeah, Hosang wanted to make a movie. He wanted to launch his acting career.
Right.
So he was like, he got his dad got some people together to finance a movie, and we all, got together and shot a movie on the fly, so to speak.
On the fly. How,
Yeah, meaning like last minute stuff. Oh, we're gonna try this location. Can we get that location? Yeah, we can. Okay, let's run over there and shoot it. you
it was
know,
something. It's something fun. It was something
yeah,
fun.
yeah, fun. But the camera crew and the lighting crew are all professional. Here in Chicago, we have a news station called WGN,
Okay.
and a lot of the cameramen and the lighting people were from that TV news show.
Okay. Okay.
So they knew what they were doing.
Yeah, of course they were highly
They're
trained, and
professionals.
they were professionals.
Yeah.
And what about Press Start? What was that?
Press Start was a video game. Uh, I basically got an email saying, "Hey, will you help us do this video game?" And at the time, my girlfriend was like, saw the email.
Okay.
Was going through my emails, helping me with that stuff. And she goes, "You should really answer those guys. They really want to. I think they're nice people. You should try to answer them." And I remember it because I was playing Halo at the time, and so I dropped Halo, and I was like, "Sure, I can help you guys, but you're going to have to film in Chicago, if this is going to be done because I really can't leave the school." So I didn't think anything would happen, and then he answered. He's like, "Okay, I'm coming to Chicago. We're going to shoot this movie." And he's like, "Can you get your brother?" And I was like, I just called Carlos, and Carlos was like, "I'm not doing anything that Saturday." I was like, "Let's meet at the school and shoot this movie for him." And he was like, "Okay." So we both just showed up and kind of helped him out to do his project.
Oh, okay. Okay. So, I heard that you're part Latino. Is that true?
Yeah, my mother and father were born in Mexico.
Oh, okay.
They naturalized here during the 50s.
All right.
So yeah, my brothers and I are all uh, born in the U.S., but we're Mexican.
Do
Yeah,
you have a Mexican bloodline?
yeah.
Oh, that's
I'm
awesome.
proud of it. Proud of the Latin bloodline. Yeah.
What is your favorite fatality?
My favorite fatality is Kano's fatality.
Taking out the heart.
Taking out the heart,
Show him to him, basically.
yeah, yeah. It was really fun creating because, Rich is like, "Oh, I'm gonna, what if I like do like Indiana Jones? I stick my hand and like gonna rip out your heart."
Kalima.
Yeah. And then I was like, "Oh man, it'd be cool if you could pull it out and hold it up, and it's still beating and blood squirting out of it." Because we were getting into the whole blood gore thing a lot, so it started to,
Started to pick up.
yeah. And I just have fond memories of that whole action, you know,
Yeah.
of that whole, you know, thing. So I really, I think the fatality is cool, but just most my brother was there, John was there, Ed was even in the room, and we were just laughing our butt off. It was hilarious, just the things we were doing. It was a good time.
It was a good time. It was a good time. Anything you want to say to your friends? Not again using the term now friends because there's always gonna be friends. Anyone
Yeah.
who actually followed you and basically on your career when you were Johnny Cage, and basically when all they're like basically fan of your character completely. Anything that you want to tell them, as in, if they have a dream of making video games, such as movies, such as martial arts, what will you tell them?
Uh, for my friends, they should strive to follow their dreams, be proud of creating their art. Don't be shy about it. They have to grab the day because tomorrow never comes.
Of course.
And, they have to live in this moment and uh, don't worry. Anybody disses them, I'll nut punch them.
You heard him from Johnny Cage himself.
Yep.
So, so there you go. But you don't worry. The guy who comes by and grabs your nuts, that's not gonna happen anymore. So don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, that's pretty funny. Yeah, I was. Yeah, I actually thought about punching him in the head, and I'm like, For what? It's not worth. It's
It's
not.
not worth it. It's
It
not worth
wasn't
it.
that big of a deal. The guy's probably cracking up anyway. It's probably a joke.
Now, I think that's his fond memory from now on. It's like, hey, dude, I just grabbed Johnny Cage's nuts.
Yeah, for
That's
real.
it. Uh, so I think that'll be it. I guess we have to finish this now. It's been an honor. It's been awesome here with Daniel Pesina, the very first special guest here in the new segment and new show called New Challenger from the Rating Pending. You can like us on Facebook on www.facebook.com/the Rating Pending Show. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/the Rating Pending Show. So yeah, it's been awesome. Daniel, if you want to say something,
Get over here.
get over here.
We'll see you guys later.